got a power shining out for everyone to see. Yeah. You've got a power. You've got a power shining out for everyone to see. like to share a song during our prelude, right now, prelude, written by a songwriter from the West Coast. His name is Keb Mo. He's a wonderful blues recording artist, and it's a very inspiring song called Let Your Light Shine. 1, 2, 3. You say you wanna get over. What are you gonna do? Watch the world go by in a corner of your room. I know it's none of my business, but there's something I need to say. If you could see you the way I see you, you'd start flying on your own. Step aside and let your light shine. Let your love show. It's a short ride down the long road. When the rains come and the winds blow, let your light shine wherever you go. This world is ready and waiting for you to break on through. It's time to recognize, to realize you're the only one like you, yeah. So step on up, come on, step into your greatness. Don't be afraid, there's a place that you will rise up to. No one else could do it like you. You know what I'm saying? Step aside and let your light shine. Let your love show. It's a short ride down the long road. When the rains come and the winds blow, let your light shine wherever you go. Road, when the rains come and the winds blow, let your light shine wherever you go. Wherever you go. Thank you. Keb Mo, thank you so very much. And welcome to Unity of Bon Air on a beautiful Sunday morning. Let us rise and we'll start things the way we always do, by affirming that God is good and all is well. What a wonderful morning, beyond compare. I feel God's loving presence everywhere. I am filled with joy profound in a world where many miracles abound. In the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well. In the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well. Please be seated.
Is this on? There you go. Good morning. Another day in paradise. A nice wet one makes the plants grow. Welcome to Unity of Bon Air, where we live and express unconditional love and grow together in peace and prosperity. My name is Kelly Lane, and here I'm a prayer chaplain, sometimes service leader, and newly director of Reader's Theater plays. Cheryl's still writing them. Whether this is your first time or your 100th time joining us, either in person or online, we are grateful for your presence and participation. We share this special time together. We have come together as part of love's divine purpose that calls each of us forth to celebrate the connection we all share through the holy presence within and all around us that we call God. In this spirit of community, we enfold in light and love all spiritual and religious gatherings and all people everywhere. We especially welcome any of you who are here for the first time. If you are here in this room, please raise your hand so that one of the ushers can bring you a welcome packet. And we invite you to join us for our fellowship coffee following the service. If you are with us online, be sure to visit our website at Unity Bon Air, separations, unitybonair.org, to find all the wonderful activities here at Unity of Bon Air. And before we go any further, let us take a moment to acknowledge all the wonderful people who make this service possible this morning. From those of you who greet you at the front door and the doors to the sanctuary, to the volunteers in the bookstore and fellowship coffee, and of course, our tech and music teams. Let us say together, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we see you doing amazing things. There's a slight difference. We've got to get that straight. And now, let me welcome a leader for our youth and family ministry.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we're getting close to summer camp, and we're so excited. We have about 12 children right now registered between the Montessori kids and others. So this is a joint camp this year between us and the Montessori school, so I'm very excited about that. We're also starting to plan for the fall, and what we're going to do is a 12 Powers program. And I'm going to leave it up to the kids whether we're going to learn wizard powers or whether we're going to learn superhero powers. So we're going to go that route. So if I can have all the children and all my friends come on up, we'll get ready to go in the back. And I'm very happy to say I have Amy Corsetti here today, who is helping with youth and family ministry. So thank you.
Thank you. Aren't they cute? So on the second Sunday of the month, we have a Love in Action Spotlight. The special events hospitality. During the course of the year, there are several times when a meal or reception is needed for a workshop, meeting, or event. This group comes together to set up, provide, and serve the fare. Volunteers are often requested, so this is something you can join. And Barbara Spicer, if you would come on up and, well, not come on up, if you would stand and have all of your team stand so that we can give you a round of applause. And I invite you to stand as you're able as we enjoy a congregational song together.
This is one that we all remember. This little light of mine. 1, 2, here we go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, oh yeah. Shine it over the whole wide world, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine it over the whole wide world, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine it over the whole wide world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, here we go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. One more time. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Test, there, it's on. Sorry. Little known fact, Claudia and I went to music school together at VCU many years ago.
Hundreds of years ago.
Oh, and then now our transformational opportunities. Good morning. Our word of the month is appreciation. Say it with me. Appreciation. And we're glad you're here both in person and on live stream. Thank you for joining us. Announcements. This afternoon, following service and fellowship, we're having part 1 of a What is Unity class for those of you who are interested in becoming a new member or for anyone who might like a refresher. We'll start at 12:45 p.m. in the education room down the hall. Part 2 will take place July 31st. We hope you will join us. The Grief Support Group led by Reverend Patty and Reverend Lisa Marks continues meeting on Wednesdays at 1:30 p.m. following our midweek meditation and potluck. Hey. The Ramsey Financial Peace University course continues in person in the fellowship hall. For this week only, class will be on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Classes then continue through the summer on Thursdays. In Financial Peace University, you'll learn the proven plan to help you keep a budget, beat debt, and build wealth. Pre-registration with Ramsey is required. July's movie night will be here July 22nd, both in person and via Zoom. Stay tuned for the movie title, which you'll find in their newsletter coming out this Wednesday. Calling all volunteers. We're looking for help to help cover the office during our normal business hours from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you have an hour or two or more to spare and would be interested, please contact the office at 804-320-5584. That's 320-5584. Like they say on the radio, you got to repeat it. The celebration of life service honoring Reverend Joyce Fisher Pierce will take place on Saturday, July 16th at 1 p.m., led by Reverend Mary Morrissey. And there will be a reception to follow. All are welcome to attend, either in person or via live stream on our YouTube channel. To keep up with all these transformational opportunities and many more here at Unity of Bon Air, be sure to visit our website and subscribe to our weekly e-news and follow us on Facebook or Instagram. And now, the daily word. The daily word for today is generous. When I say I, as I'm reading this, you say to yourself, I. The affirmation for today is, as I give, I share God's abundance. The limitless resources of infinite spirit flow through my loving heart and clear mind as a never-ending supply of divine ideas. I always have all that I need to live abundantly, and I share my abundance with others, joyfully and freely. I give generously of my resources, talents, and skills, happy to support those I care about. I am generous with praise, gratitude, and encouragement. I give generously of my time, and I am a good friend, a devoted family member, and a compassionate listener. Whenever I give without thought of reciprocation, I center myself in the divine flow. I am grateful, trusting recipient of Spirit's unfailing generosity, and a conduit through which all of God's blessings flow. The scripture for today is, a generous person will be enriched, and one who gives water will get water. Proverbs 11:25. So I'm going to say the affirmation once, just myself, and then I ask you to repeat it with me twice. And the second time, say it with authority, as the founders, the Fillmores of Unity always said, when you speak with authority, you magnetize the universe. As I give, I share God's abundance together. As I give, I share God's abundance with authority. As I share God's abundance. Thank you. And if I remember correctly, it's now time for Reverend Patty.
I always love it when I get to come up here and look at all these wonderful faces. Good morning. I see your lights shining, so you're already tucked into the theme for today. I will let you know the sun is shining. I have proof of this from having flown in an airplane. Even though it doesn't look like it, you get above the clouds, sun is still shining. So let me tell you my joke for today. So this is a goodie. So an older man loves to plant his garden, and usually his son helps him. But this year, the son is in prison. So he writes to the son and says, "Dear, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't have the strength to dig up the garden." And the son writes back and says, "Dad, don't dig up the garden. That's where the bodies are buried." So the next day, 4 FBI men show up, and they're digging up the garden. They didn't find anything. And then the son sends a letter back and says, "Now you're ready to plant the garden. It's the best I could do from here." And I wanted to add a comment. So I just spoke to Craig, Joyce's son, last night, and he let me know that I need to announce to you today that Claudia and the team, plus Don, and we know that Joyce loved sax in church also, will be playing starting at 12:30. So you're welcome to come early and just soak in all this wondrous, beautiful music. And then the second thing about Joyce's service is we need 2 to 3, we would like 2 to 3 volunteers who would be willing to drive their car, bringing people. We're having overflow parking in Buford Road Baptist Church right next door. And so if our parking lot gets full, this is, not a long stretch, but a lot of us are older and we don't want people walking down the road and falling in the ditch. So, so if you're willing to come and drive, a little 5-minute stint from there to here and help people get here safely, please see Howard. All right, so time to take a nice deep breath. Let your shoulders drop. Take your consciousness intentionally from this busy mind down into our heart center. Just let it feel the presence, that deep, unlimited well of love, that deep, still place of peace. So we allow ourselves to breathe in love, breathe out peace. As we think of this incredible day, this day where the earth is being watered, at least here, where we are gathered in love in this sanctuary, or you are gathered with us in your home, we simply are so grateful for the love, this love that calls us together and makes us one. And into this holy, sacred space, we bring all the names and concerns that are listed in our prayer box. We bring particularly Frank and Dwight and their families, and anyone who is in your heart and your circle of friends. Would you like to hold in this light? You can say that name out loud or silently. We bring them into this circle. And then we expand from this community out into our city, to our state, into our country, and then into the world. Sending this power of peace for which our world so hungers. Sending this love and care. And we allow this embrace to touch people's hearts and minds, because we know there is only one mind. And we allow spirits to be lifted, despair to dissipate, and hope to grow. We allow space for the divine ideas to be born and blossom. We are so grateful for these truths we know. And I invite you to close with me with our mantra we say together 3 times. I am grateful. Together. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. Then I'd like to invite up to over here one of our newest members, Joe, and Barbie, who's our new member coordinator. Barbie is going to give us a little introduction to Joe.
Good morning. My name is Barbie Nunley. And it is my great pleasure to introduce Jose Manuel Caballero. He likes to be called Joe, but I've been known to call him Tom. So. Joe is originally from Maryland, the son of Cuban immigrants, but spent most of his life in South Florida. He and his husband recently moved to Richmond in October 2021. Word of the labyrinth brought Joe to Unity of Bon Air, and after an introspective walk, he was greeted by our Kelly Lane, which resulted in a lengthy discourse of their shared beliefs. Joe says it has been many years since he felt he could speak openly about his beliefs he aligned with way before he ever knew the term processed new thought. Though raised a Christian, Joe was brought up around the magic realism of Cuban culture, and coming from a family of mediums, he has been a spiritualist since he was 15. His passion is exploring and sharing the art, music, and mythologies of indigenous cultures. And Joe looks forward to discovering how his talents can best be shared with this congregation. So, we have a couple of gifts for you.
Love you.
So let's give Joe a unity blessing. We love you.
We bless you. We appreciate you. And we behold the Christ you are. And we see you doing amazing things. Thank you, and I invite you all to come and greet him in the reception afterwards and get to meet his beautiful partner as well. Over to the music team.
To sing along with me here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's all right. Little darling, it's been a long, long, cold winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's all right. Little darling, the smiles are returning to our faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sing it with me. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Oh, little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and it feels good. It's alright. Here comes the sun, doo doo doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. It's alright. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I skipped our statement of truth, so if you want to put that up there, Deb, we will say it. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God, the omnipotent good. So I have a couple questions to ask you to start. Who in here has seen the power of a life lit up by the Christ? A few hands, yes. Who has been touched and moved by someone they knew personally or simply read about that brought your mind back to the possibility of light during a time of darkness, or been reminded that we can choose again? We can choose love. We can choose that instead of separation. This is such powerful medicine. And this is who we're called to be. Course in Miracles says this one sentence that I adore. There is a light in you which cannot die, whose presence is so holy that the world is sanctified because of you. Just let that go right straight into your heart. There is a light in you which cannot die, whose presence is so holy that the world is sanctified because of you. So my prayer is that as we spend time thinking about this morning, each of us may dance more and more in the joy of the light that we are. And in my mind, light and love mean the same thing. They are the energy of the divine. So I'm going to be telling some stories of light and love today as we celebrate this very present moment, this overcast and yet light-filled summer day. What could happen if you let each person in your life know how much you value them? What might happen if you were to shower everyone with love? And not just friends and family, though they may need to hear it from you, but everyone, especially those hardest to love, those the Dalai Lama calls our greatest teachers. Love is the medicine of transformation. It can transform our world. This God self of you, this light, this divine potential within will quicken and inspire and bless you because of this divine something that is happening within you. We all are expressions of the divine that are expanding and growing. A quickening fire that stokes up your enthusiasm, your creative juices, all the vital parts of your life flowing beautifully, and you will go forth walking in ways of vision and ways of love and ways of creativity, shining, shining, shining. Amen. So here are some very specific examples. One from a very simple act of giving of one's love and light. Another one of someone risking their very life for love. And the final one to choosing forgiveness and peace. These are stories of being light. This is the truth of each one of us. But we're going to start with Matthew 4:14. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people put a light and put it under a bowl, light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on the stand, and it gives light to everyone in the home. In the same way, let your light shine before others. This is the Christ's simple invitation to us to know our true identity and to live from it. So the first story. A dedicated charity shop volunteer takes 2 buses and a 20-minute walk, at least 2 hours one way, to volunteer at the St. Columba's Hospice shop in Scotland. Well, that might seem not too dramatic, but he is 100 years old. The sprightly widower started working in the charity shop after he was diagnosed with prostate cancer and spent 2 weeks being cared for by that same hospice. He just wanted to pay it forward for the kindness he received. This grandfather of 7 says the shop gets a lot of toys, books, jigsaw puzzles, and he checks all of them out to see if they are okay. And our friend's name is David. He was widowed in 2010. He also spends time building model railways, which he auctions off to raise money for this hospice organization. So here's this simple story of a man who received love, and all he can do is pour it back out. Shine his light. Well, I don't know about you, but that's what I want to look like at 100, right? Getting on my little bus. Then my second story, I can never tell this story without getting teared up, so I'll give you a fair warning. So 5 young women of a Uniontown high school in Kansas were in history class, and they had to create a year-long project. And they found this tiniest little blip while they were doing research one day during 2000-2001 school year. This discovery would change their lives and that of a very special woman. They discovered this blip, and their teacher said, go for it. So this research started, and here's who they discovered. A Polish Catholic nurse and social worker named Irina Sendler. She led a secret operation to successfully smuggle 2,500 Jewish children and babies out of the Warsaw Ghetto, saving them from almost certain death. She defied the Nazis at great personal risk and nearly paid the ultimate price for her courageous actions. And even when she was caught and tortured by the Gestapo, she never told them the names or locations of the children she rescued. And it so happened that someone interfered and bribed whoever was keeping her, and she made it out of that situation alive. But here's what happened. At first, she helped to create false documents for over 3,000 Jewish families. Then, because of being a social worker, she had special access to the Warsaw Ghetto, granted to Social Welfare Department employees to conduct inspections for typhus. And that's how she set up the smuggling operation. She and her colleagues began secretly transporting babies and children out of the ghetto by hiding them in an ambulance with a false bottom, or in baskets, coffins, and even potato sacks. So here's this woman who, now I don't know if she was drugging these kiddos or not, but I surely would have been. When is this baby going to start crying or screaming or going, I don't want to be in the potato sack? Amazing, amazing courage and love just pouring out of this woman. So she kept meticulous lists of each of these child's real name, and to protect them, she sealed them in jars and buried them by a tree in her garden. She arranged for them to be given false identities and placed them with Polish families and or orphanages. So these Kansas City girls conducted this year-long investigation into her life. They ultimately wrote a play about Irina entitled Life in a Jar. They performed it in Kansas. They were then, it was a huge thing. They were sent to Washington, D.C., to New York City. People who of Jewish descent were taken with them, and this one man said, you must meet. Well, they found out she was still alive. She was like 91, and she was living in poverty. So then they started I don't know if it was a GoFundMe or what, but something to raise money for her. And then this Jewish man said, oh, you must meet her. He started a campaign to raise money to send them over there, and amidst great tears and no shared language skills, these girls got to hug and hold and tell this woman that her life impacted them in ways they could never, ever tell her. That they would write on their homework papers, my life is going to be like Irina's. I am planning on making a difference in the world. Just so powerful. So my final story, it's what I titled this talk, The Sun Does Shine. That's the name of a book, and the subtitle is called How I Found Life, Freedom, and Justice by Anthony Ray Hinton. Now, how I found out about this book was from Sandra Campbell, who has spoken here and performed here. She was one of my teachers at the urban school and another great light and powerhouse, and she was telling me, oh, this is one of my favorite stories. So I said, okay, got to read that one. And first, Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison for opposing a racist system in South Africa. Anthony Ray Hinton spent close to 30 years on death row because we have a racist justice system in America. But both emerged from their incarceration with the profound capacity to forgive. They are stunning examples of how the most horrendous cruelty can lead to the most transcendent compassion. So here's what happened to Anthony. In 1985, he was living in Alabama, which we know is not a good state to not be white in. In 1985, 2 area fast food restaurants were robbed and the managers were both killed. They were shot. There were no eyewitnesses or fingerprints anywhere, no evidence. The police had no suspects, and the pressure to solve these murders started building. Then a little bit later, on July 25th, another restaurant was robbed and the manager was shot, but he was not killed. And Anthony was arrested after the manager identified him from a photo lineup, even though he was working in a locked warehouse 15 miles away at the time of the crime. So Anthony lived with his mother. He was out mowing the grass one day and one of these horrible hot summer days in Alabama, and these two policemen came and asked him to put his arms behind his back and let them handcuff him. And he says, well, he did. He said, what is this about? And they said that he was being arrested for for the wounding of this one guy. And he said, well, I need to go let my mom know what's happening. She doesn't even know you're taking me away. So they finally agreed to let him go in the kitchen and say goodbye to his mother. Then they put him in the car. So the conversation in the car goes something like, he goes, now what? I don't understand. And they say, you're being arrested for you've been identified by this individual. And they ask him, does he have a gun? And he says, well, my mother owns a gun. So they take him and pile him somewhere and then go back to the house and ask the mother for this revolver that's been in their house for 25 years and has never been shot in all that time, and take that back as evidence. So then they're telling him, get back in the car with him. He says, well, I'm innocent. I haven't hurt anybody. And they go, well, we're going to tell you what's going to happen. We're going to take you to the police station. You're going to be booked. You're going to be sent to prison. And we'll tell you 3 reasons why. Because you are a black man, because there's going to be 9 white jurors, there's going to be a white judge, and there's going to be a white prosecutor. And this is just the tiniest bits of his story. So with no history of violent crime, he steadfastly maintained his innocence. A polygraph test was given him by police, which exonerated him, but the judge refused to admit it at trial. Then he was appointed a lawyer who mistakenly thought he could not get enough money to hire a qualified firearms expert. So instead, this pitiful lawyer retained a visually impaired civil engineer with no expertise in firearm identification, who admitted he could not operate the machinery necessary to examine the evidence. So with no credible expert to challenge the state's assertion of a match, Mr. Hinton was convicted and sentenced to death. These stories are just so heart-wrenching. He lived for 28 years in a 5 by 7 foot cell close to the electric chair in a prison in Alabama, so close he could smell the effects of this barbaric way of killing those given a death sentence. And these cells are in the dark. You don't get to visit with others. You have no idea whether the guy next to you is white or black or Mexican or whatever. You can yell at each other. You don't see each other. It's incredibly isolating. There's no, you don't get to see nature. You don't get to see the sun. It's just this very barbaric way of dealing with people. But instead of turning to bitterness and hopelessness, he took every opportunity to bring light. He somehow had a chat with the supervisor of the prison and asked if he could start a book group with others on this death watch area. And he had to make special agreements with the supervisor. They had to order the books. They could only order 2 at a time. It had to come from Amazon. It couldn't come from family, yada, yada, yada. This man's light was so bright that the guards would come to him for conversations and counseling. When he finally got an exceptional lawyer through Equal Justice Initiative, the guards would come up to that lawyer and ask him how could they help. One white man who had been taught to hate black people had a conversion experience being on this death cell by the effects of Mr. Hinton. He learned from his new black-skinned friends, the power of love. We're talking about an exceptional, extraordinary light of a man. In interviews after his release, he would say again and again, "Bitterness kills the soul," and I would not give over to it. He chose forgiveness. He chose forgiveness repeatedly because there'd be a glimmer of hope about something happening with the lawyer. He had the same man that wrote the book Just Mercy through this Justice Initiative thing. But he chose continually for 30 years in subhuman living conditions and ridiculous blocks as he attempted to get declared innocent. So if you are not a reader, I encourage you to go to YouTube and watch and listen to videos of this great soul who stands and lives in love and light. If you are a reader, The Sun Does Shine is the name of this book. I have it on Audible, so I can just listen to it. For those of you with children and grandchildren, there is a young person's version of this book. This is not a pretty story. This is not a story about how great America is. This is a story of how great the power of love in one person's consciousness is. And I'll tell you one last thing about him. So the book gets its name from one of his first comments out of getting out of prison, where he saw no light or the outside world for almost 30 years. Technically, when he was outside the prison, somebody said, "How are you?" or, some kind of question like that, and he said, "The sun do shine." But they switched it for the book. Can you imagine seeing the sun for the first time in 28 years when it's been shining and blasting out of you for that whole time? Here's the catch. He did not physically see the sun. He became the light. He allowed himself to be the instrument of forgiveness and love in an environment where hopelessness and woundedness was the daily bread. His light was on the lampstand. His mama, who passed away while he was incarcerated, taught him deep truth from the time he was a boy, and it served him very well. I also want to say he had a male friend who was devoted to visiting him every week of this entire time. That's how we have light. We have others who stand with us and support us. So what am I inviting you to take away today? To know you are light. You might not be called to smuggle children or to encourage death row inmates. The form is not important. What is important is letting Spirit lead you as you pour your love in your life exactly where you are planted. There is a light in you which cannot die, which wants expression. Do not compare yourself to another. That's a silly game. Allow yourself to be the one whose love transforms the world. This is so basic to our first and second principle. God is love. We are love. It's just an invitation to step into those truths and live them. Spiritual writer Emmett Fox put it like this: there is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough love will not heal, no door that enough love will not open, no gulf that enough love will not bridge, no wall that enough love will not tear down, no sin, we would say error, that enough love will not redeem. So finally, Marianne Williamson describes our situation this way: our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And that was what was happening in that jail. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So that's the end of the Marianne Williamson quote. I see each of you as radical, audacious, fearless liberators. And so it is. Claudia is going to take us into a beautiful space for meditation.
Lead me to the light. Lead me to the light. Help me to make it through. Lead me to the light. Make my eyes to see all that I could be. Help me to see it through. Lead me to the light. Lead me to the light. Lead me to the light. Help me to be with you. Lead me to the light.
So as you are comfortable, soften your eyes. Let's take 2 deep breaths and exhale, just being present to this moment. I'm just going to give you a couple sentences of affirmation and then invite all of us to go into the silence and see what Spirit would say to us this day. I will live as light. I am sensitive to the needs of those around me. I will lift the fallen, restore the broken, and encourage the discouraged. I am full of compassion and kindness. I won't just look for a miracle. I will become someone's miracle by showing God's love and light and mercy everywhere I go. Now we go within into this place of incredible light. And as we come back to this place, we let appreciation and gratitude well up within us for these amazing lighthouses that are all around, for the lighthouse that we are. And we close with our gratitude statements. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. And so it is. So as I invite our ushers to come forward, I invite you to take your offering, if it's in physical form, and hold it in your hand. And if you're doing a button or something else, where we hold that generosity in our consciousness, we say our blessing together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, for the joy of giving and receiving.
You got a light, you got a light. It's shining out for everyone to see. You got a light, you got a light. Shining out for everyone to see, yeah. For some kind of miracle, now I feel that light in me. You've got a love, you've got a love, and it's pouring out for everyone to see. You've got a love, you've got a love, and it's pouring out for everyone to see and feel. For some kind of miracle, now I feel that love in me, yeah.
Yes.
You've got a joy running through ya that cannot be denied. You got a spirit like a firecracker lighting up the sky. Woo! You've got a power, you've got the power, and it's shining down for everyone to see. You've got a power, you've got a power, it's shining out for everyone to see, yeah. For some kind of miracle, now I feel it all in me. Shine, girl, shine. shining out for everyone to see. You've got a light, you've got this light. It's shining out for everyone to see, yeah. For some kind of miracle, now I feel the light in me, yeah, yeah. Hey, light, 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 shining bright, light, yeah, shining light, oh yeah, yeah. I see your light shining. Go out in the world and shine bright, baby, yeah. Sing it from the rooftops, sing it from the mountaintops. Don't put it under a bushel, baby. Just shine, 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 let it shine. Right.
We've got some rockin' and rollin' musicians here. Let us bless these offerings so we hold these gifts in our hearts and our minds. We know the gift and the giver are one, that the energy with which this has been given is going to send it out into the world, that it might be this magnificent blessing, that it might turn lives around, turn hearts open, create space where there was only fear, space for love. And we say, we bless you on your way. We are grateful, we are grateful, we are grateful. And so it is. What am I doing? Let's get my little cheat sheet here. Okay. Chaplains, that's it. Well, our chaplains, please stand. We are gifted and blessed with these incredible, amazing people that would love to bless you or hold a concern with you. Thank you all. And we have our statement. Yes? The service has now ended. Our ministry of love continues. And let us stand and do our prayer for protection together, and then we'll close with the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.